Good morning, guys. This is Chip Taylor coming to you from Tbilisi, Ukraine. And this morning it's a little gray and not too cold. It's not freezing. I'm out here in the grow room, which is an extension to the rehab. I've got some stuff going on under the lights, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I got some peppers. That's a Reaper, and a little bit of lettuce. There's another Reaper over here. And then I got some stuff going on, some herbs and grains, things that are shade tolerant because we're not going to have a whole lot of electricity for the next few months. Yesterday we ended up off and on with about 7 or 8 hours of electricity, which is fine. I certainly understand that. And we kind of anticipated that. And with the war effort going on nationwide, this is a small price for us to pay. And so we kind of adjusted ahead of time what was going to need to be done in order to be as comfortable as we can going through this process of removing the invaders from this country. I've got a schedule, we think, for the electrical. We're running 2 hours on, 2 hours off. I'm assuming that's the same nationwide. Not everybody loses power at the same time, I would hope. This morning we woke up, there was no electricity until 8 a.m., which is a little late for coffee. And so we have a gas cooker like you would take camping, and a whole bunch of gas cylinders. They're small, about the size of a hairspray can. And we anticipated that we were going to need to have something like that during this winter, especially. We had one last year. And so this morning, you just have to schedule your stuff when you know you're going to need power. You do all your cooking when you know you're going to have electricity. I've got some corn that I processed for masa. I started that yesterday. It has to sit overnight in the ashes and lye solution. I did all that on the wood stove. This morning, while we've got electricity, I've got to run the water and clean that ash out, get the corn ready to grind, and then I'll try to grind it before we lose power. It came on at 8 a.m., so it'll run probably until 10 a.m., and then we'll lose power for a couple more hours. We got a couple of power banks for the internet. We do without lights. These lights will run for a couple hours, and then the power will shut off. I don't run it as much as I would if the situation were different. I don't want to use up a lot of electricity on something like this. It makes a strain for everybody. And so we try to adjust our life to fit the situation and to still be able to thrive and nurture my son, Danny. He's off at school. School starts at 8. We're not sure what they're going to do about his school today because they may send the children home when they can't provide a warm lunch. The heating's okay, but they need to feed the kids during lunch. And so instead of everybody bringing a lunch, they try to cook every day, but they're not always able to. And so they may or may not send him home early. He's pretty special. This morning on the way out of the gate, he's heading out to school. And I said, do you know what character is? And he said, yeah. I said, well, this kind of stuff builds character. And 11 years old, he said, yeah, you learn how to put up with shit now so you don't have to put up with shit later. And under different circumstances, I would have corrected his language. But as a pastor once told me 100 years ago, at the time, son, that was the appropriate thing to say. And so we let it go. I'm not sure. I've been letting him have a cup of coffee full strength in the mornings. maybe one in the afternoon before he starts his homework. But I started drinking a cup of coffee, no sugar, no milk, when I was 12. And my grandmother's sister, Aunt Blanche, who lived up in the mountains with her husband, Uncle Zeb. Zeb had helped build Boulder Dam back in the Depression. Anyway, Aunt Blanche told me one day, when you can drink your coffee black, you'll be grown up. I'm still working on that. Slava Ukraine. Oh, it's my lovely wife come to visit and see what's going on. Lovely wife, Mrs. Taylor.
Yeah.
Anything you need?
No, I just came to look at you.
You come for potatoes or to store onions?
Yeah, get me something.
All right. Anyway, we're doing fine here. We adjusted ahead of time. With Danny's drinking coffee in the morning, I'm sure that's okay. I'm not sure about him smoking Salem cigarettes as he drinks a cup of coffee. We'll see what happens with that. Slava Ukraine.